Findings from the 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey have shown that poverty levels in the city of Kigali are lower compared to Rwanda's provinces. And on the international scene, Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof has stepped down after Geert Wilders withdrew his party from the Netherlands coalition government over migration plans. Now straight to the details. The President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, has begun a two-day working visit to Algeria at the invitation of his counterpart, President Abdelmadjid Tebboune. President Kagame was received by President Tebboune at the Ouhari Bounamid International Airport. The two heads of state have held talks at the presidential palace in that country. President Kagame has also visited the Makam Ekahid Memorial located in the city of Algiers, where he paid tribute to the heroes who lost their lives in the war for Algeria's independence and are buried there. He's also scheduled to visit an institute that teaches the application of artificial intelligence, which currently has 5 Rwandan students enrolled in it. The visit has also resulted in the signing of cooperation agreements in various sectors and will conclude with a press conference. This is President Kagame's second visit to Algeria following his previous one back in 2015. Now, Rwanda is set to start earning increased revenues from the mineral trade following a rise in global Tungsten prices. The price of Tungsten has nearly doubled based on new rates released at the end of May. The rise in market prices is good news for Rwanda, as it is expected to enhance the contribution of this mineral to the country's economy, as noted by Orest Mukiza, the communications officer at the Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board.
Today, our country, Rwanda, ranks as 5th globally in terms of tungsten production. This is after China, other countries such as Vietnam, Russia, and many more. And in Africa, we rank the largest. We are number 1. And of course, Rwanda is home to critical minerals. These include tantalum, tin, and tungsten now. And over the last 12 years, we would say that today's price of tungsten has hit its highest level. And one can also say that this is the highest tungsten could be throughout its history. Now, of course, if you look at how we used to trade tungsten, as of today, 10 kilograms of tungsten stand at something around 410 USD, whereas previously we would have 10 kilograms of tungsten traded at just between 220 and 260 USD. Now you could see that the spike has more than doubled. And of course, this significantly impacts our mining industry generally. I would say in 3 ways. Number 1, through mineral export earnings or values, because as we are one of the largest producers of this commodity, this means that we are also going to be getting more revenues from the minerals that we export abroad. And again, this is going to significantly boost the tax base, the taxation from this sector. And again, this is going to impact what we call shipment value, as mineral traders are really going also to benefit. And again, this is going to benefit the miner who daily works digging in the tunnels looking for this mineral. They're also going to be one of the people to benefit from this spike. And lastly, this is going to now impact the overall investments within this sector. And this is just going to be a launch pad for driving the sector's growth forward.
The price increase comes as Rwanda has already taken strong measures aimed at boosting productivity in the mining sector and increasing foreign exchange earnings from minerals. The second phase of the National Strategy for Transformation aims to increase export revenues from minerals from $1.75 billion last year to as much as $2.17 billion by the year 2029. Now, the parents of Jeannette Nirere, who passed away after sustaining injuries during a stampede at an RPF Inkotanyi rally in Rubavu district, have expressed gratitude that since the loss of their daughter, the RPF Inkotanyi party has remained close to them, culminating today in the handover of a newly built house worth over 11 million Rwandan francs. Testimonies from Nirere's parents revealed that on the 23rd of June 2024, Nirere, who was around 40 years old, was motivated by her love for the RPF Inkotanyi party to wake up in the middle of the night and go and support His Excellency President Paul Kagame, the RPF Inkotanyi presidential candidate at the time. Among the thousands gathered at the Rugerero site to see His Excellency Paul Kagame, Nirere was injured in the resulting stampede. Although medical services did all they could to save her, she passed away 2 days later. Her parents are deeply appreciative of how the RPF Inkotanyi and local authorities stood by them after her passing. Following her death, the RPF Inkotanyi party pledged to support her family, a promise that continues to be fulfilled. Today the family was handed a modern house valued at over 10 million Rwandan francs, fully furnished with essential items. In addition, the family received farmland and will soon be given a cow. The total value of all the support will exceed 22 million Rwandan francs. The Executive Secretary of the RPF Inkotanyi in the Western Province has confirmed the party's commitment to supporting the family. After receiving the house and additional support, Nirere's parents expressed their heartfelt gratitude to the RPF Inkotanyi, saying the party had restored hope to their family following the loss of their daughter. Beyond the improved housing, the RPF Inkotanyi party has also pledged to cover the full education expenses of Nirere's 12-year-old child until they complete their studies. Now, the parliaments of Rwanda and Ghana have committed to strengthening solid cooperation between them. This was emphasized by the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies in Rwanda's parliament, who hosted her counterpart from Ghana. The Speaker stated that their discussions focused on the cooperation agreement signed by the two countries' parliaments back in 2022, which has played a significant role in enhancing collaboration between the two sides. Now, Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, the Speaker of Ghana's parliament, has expressed satisfaction with the partnership they share with Rwanda, adding that Ghana has much to learn from Rwanda.
To continue with the frequent exchanges we've been having between the two parliaments. We always have delegations to come and usually understudy the areas that we think the other parliament has some advantage. And so in Rwanda, for example, we always want to learn how you've managed to lead the whole world when it comes to the gender, and how also you'll be able to decentralize your system of governments to the unit levels, and how you manage to empower your women into leadership positions. We also looked at the issue of IT, how you run your paperless government, and how you've also been able to encourage many more of the youth to be interested in politics. But more importantly, we looked at the areas of cooperation, the agreements that the countries have signed together with parliaments, and how we could advance them, particularly emphasizing on two issues. One of the double taxation system, which seems not to be encouraging the private sector integration, and also on the issue of one has to deal with, I think, migration, and how we could cooperate to return fugitives and other things. Those are things pending in Ghana that the Right Honourable Speaker drew my attention to, which I promised to take up immediately I get back to Ghana. but drew her attention that your worthy representative, Her Excellency the Ambassador to Ghana, is doing a very good job in Ghana.
Now, as we noted earlier, in 2022, Rwanda's Chamber of Deputies signed a memorandum of understanding with the Parliament of Ghana aimed at fostering good cooperation between the two legislative bodies to further strengthen the relationship between the two countries. Now, staying in Parliament, the Senate Committee on Economic Development and Finance here in Rwanda held discussions with institutions including the Ministry of Environment and the Rwanda Environment Management Authority to seek solutions to the excessive use of environmentally harmful fuels such as firewood and charcoal. The discussions aim to explore how to accelerate programs that help citizens access clean and sustainable cooking energy. The 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey conducted by the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda showed that 93% of the population still uses firewood and charcoal for cooking. Some senators on the committee expressed concerns to the Minister of Environment, highlighting existing gaps that are hindering progress in reducing reliance on such fuels. The Ministry of Environment explained that the government of Rwanda is making significant efforts to reduce the use of charcoal and firewood, but alternatives such as gas are still expensive. However, they stated that they are looking forward to the completion of the methane gas project, which is expected to be operational by 2027. The situation is reportedly worse in schools, which account for 45.7% of all firewood used nationwide. According to the Ministry of Infrastructure, an investment of $1.37 billion is needed for the country to reduce charcoal usage by to 42% by the year 2030. Now, sticking with environmental matters, the Rwanda Environment Management Authority has stated that in efforts to combat air pollution caused by plastic materials and polythene bags, Rwanda is now intensifying efforts to recycle them into other environmentally friendly products. According to statistics from the United Nations Environment Programme, 80% of plastic materials used globally are discarded, eventually ending up in lakes, rivers, streams, and oceans, polluting water and harming aquatic life. Leaders of companies involved in recycling these materials say this is part of their contribution to environmental conservation. In addition to companies that recycle plastic waste, there are others that produce biodegradable bags used for carrying food. Now, Patrick Umuhoza, the REMA official in charge of monitoring international environmental agreements, says Rwanda is making significant progress in preventing plastic and polythene pollution from reaching the environment at high levels thanks to industries that recycle them into new products. However, non-biodegradable plastic bags produced by local factories to be sold, buyers must first obtain a permit from REMA, which is granted after confirming that no alternative option is available. Now, findings from the 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey in Rwanda has indicated that poverty levels in the city of Kigali are lower compared to the provinces. We have the details with Enola Gladys Benimana.
Dufite umujyi wa Kigali ukomeza kugenda ujya hejuru mu bucucike ugomba gutuma.
During the presentation of the findings, the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda revealed that poverty and extreme poverty levels in the city of Kigali have significantly declined over the past 7 years and are currently lower than in other provinces. The poverty rate in Kigali decreased from 39.8% to 27.4%, while extreme poverty dropped from 11.3% in 2017 to 5.4%. Other household living condition indicators also show relatively better scores in Kigali compared to other provinces, according to James Byiringiro, the survey program manager at the National Institute of Statistics.
Concerning the poverty rate, the city of Kigali has the lowest poverty rate and lowest extreme poverty rate compared to other provinces. And the other one, if we look on the other side, is that when we look on inequality, we found out that the inequality in the city of Kigali is the highest compared to the other provinces. And concerning the other socioeconomic indicators, we noticed that the city of Kigali has improved indicators compared to the other provinces. For instance, I can say if you look on access to electricity, ownership of mobile phones, access to internet using. If you look on improved use the fuel for cooking, just we found out that the city of Kigali has the improved indicators compared to the other provinces. There should be measures to create more job opportunities to the people, to ensure that everyone in working age has something to do, because access to employment is very important in the reduction of poverty. And the other is keep on supporting those in poverty through through social protection. There is some social protection programs. They should continue just to support those in poverty. And the other thing is to educate the population, to take measures that will help them to mitigate any shock that can happen. Because today a person may not be in poverty, because maybe he's working, because maybe he has someone who is working in the household. But if that person die or lose a job, that the household may fall in poverty. So households should take measures to mitigate those risks. But for instance, through savings or through looking for the alternative employment opportunities or alternative jobs.
However, the study also highlighted that more effort is needed in areas like education, housing, health insurance coverage, and waste management in Kigali, as these sectors still score relatively low. For example, in education, the number of students who complete secondary school is still low compared to those who start. While 55.2% start secondary school, only 32.5% manage to complete it. The City of Kigali administration has pledged to build on the achievements made so far and to address the remaining gaps. Martine Urugeni, the Vice Mayor in charge of socio-economic affairs, emphasized this point. The city of Kigali cannot just have good roads without people who are well off and happy using them. We must uplift our citizens so they can also benefit from this infrastructure and everything else, and be in a good state themselves. We are not saying we will solve everything at once, but at least there are some issues we can address immediately, while others require long-term strategies. What we must take from this as an assignment is that based on our own self-evaluation or the indicators presented to us, we need to ask ourselves, what can we address right now and solve quickly? What requires a budget, and how can that budget be secured? We are here as leaders so that each one of us reflects strategically on how we've been operating and identify ways we can change and improve the lives of our citizens. The 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey in Rwanda also shows that employment rates in Kigali have improved, rising from 64.1% to 73%. There is a call for the city to put in place adequate mechanisms that not only help more people access jobs, but also protect those who are already employed from losing them due to shocks, as unemployment remains a major factor contributing to poor household living conditions. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Private sector members in Rwanda's Western province have been commended for their contributions to initiatives that support survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi and for their overall contribution to national development. This message was delivered by the governor of the Western province during a remembrance event organized by the province's Private Sector Federation to mark the 31st commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The event was held at the Bisesero Genocide Memorial with private sector representatives from all districts of the Western province in attendance. Participants were given a historical briefing on how the genocide against the Tutsi unfolded in Bisesero with extreme brutality. This was a place where many Tutsi put up resistance against heavily armed attackers, that is, heavily armed attacks by soldiers, Interahamwe militia, and others involved in executing the genocide plan. After learning about this history, they toured the memorial, laid wreaths on mass graves, where over 50,000 genocide victims are buried, and proceeded to donate 13 cows to families of genocide survivors. One of the beneficiaries expressed deep gratitude to the government and the private sector for their continued support on their journey of rebuilding. The chairperson of the Rwanda Private Sector Federation emphasized that remembering the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi and supporting survivors is a core value of the organization. The governor, who joined the commemoration event, thanked the private sector members for their role in national development and urged them to intensify efforts to fight against genocide denial, revisionism, and the genocide ideology. The 13 cows donated by the Private Sector Federation of the Western Province corresponded to the 13 sectors of Karongi district, with one genocide survivor in each sector receiving a cow.
During lapse moments, laying hooks, giving away, making moves. Breakfast with family. Inyanje is always there. Whatever the occasion, whatever the moment, always ask for Inyanje.
Nkiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njya muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byarangiye nanditse amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye ziba impamo. Bigereho.
Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof has stepped down after Geert Wilders withdrew his party from the coalition government over migration plans. Schoof's announcement comes hours after Wilders said he had taken a decision to withdraw from the coalition because his partners are unwilling to agree to his migration plans. Euronews with the details.
Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof has resigned from his position just hours after far-right politician Geert Wilders announced his Party for Freedom would pull out of the ruling government coalition. Schoof is expected to submit the cabinet's resignation to King Willem-Alexander by the end of the day on Tuesday, but says the coalition will remain as a caretaker government up until the new election.
In de ministerraad hebben we gesproken over de ontstaande situatie en geconcludeerd dat met het vertrek van de PVV er onvoldoende draagvlak is in de Tweede Kamer voor dit kabinet.
It comes after a turbulent day in Dutch politics, with Wilders declaring his withdrawal from government following the coalition's refusal to accept his immigration policy. Wilders' 10-point plan, which he presented last Monday, called for a complete halt to asylum, a temporary stop to family reunions for asylum seekers with refugee status, and the return of all Syrians who have applied for asylum or are in the Netherlands on temporary visas. The Dutch government is now teetering on the brink of collapse, paving the way for snap elections in the Western European nation.
Massive plumes of ash and volcanic material have been billowing above Mount Etna in Italy after it erupted again. Parts of its southeastern crater collapsed, sending plumes of smoke and ash several kilometers above Europe's largest active volcano. Euronews continues.
Europe's largest active volcano, Mount Etna, located on the Italian island of Sicily, has erupted. Large plumes of smoke could be seen rising kilometers high above the volcano. The eruption occurred after parts of Mount Etna's southeastern crater collapsed, resulting in hot lava flows, according to the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology. The agency says the spectacle was the 14th eruptive phase of the volcano in recent months. A volcanic tremor was first detected in the early hours of Monday. Multiple explosions known as strombolian eruptions followed for several hours. No deaths or injuries were reported in the eruptions, and officials say there is presently no immediate danger to people. Mount Etna erupts several times a year, and its activity is closely monitored due to its proximity to populated areas and high tourist attraction.
Now to employment matters, and demand for manual labor is likely to stay the highest overall, but digital jobs are projected to grow at the fastest pace over the next 5 years. Meanwhile, many clerk and administrative roles could be cut. The highest number of new positions, over 35 million worldwide, will be created for farm workers and other agricultural employees. This according to a World Economic Forum survey on employers in 55 countries. Euronews once more.
Which roles are set to grow fastest and biggest by 2030? New technologies are reshaping demand for roles in the job market. Vacancies for big data specialists are expected to surge by over 110% by 2030, making it the fastest growing role globally. AI and machine learning are close behind, along with fintech engineers, both projected to surge by around 80%. While some jobs will boom, others will likely fade. Positions like postal workers, data entry clerks and bank tellers are forecast to shrink by more than 20%. In absolute numbers, the biggest job losses will hit cashiers and ticket clerks, with nearly 15 million roles expected to disappear over the next 5 years. Administrative assistants could see at least 5 million jobs cut, while cleaners and housekeepers are also expected to face steep declines, just under 5 million fewer positions. Perhaps surprisingly, farm workers top the list, with more than 35 million new jobs projected globally. Delivery drivers will also likely be in high demand, with nearly 10 million roles added, followed by software and app developers.
Now, before we go, let us again take a look at the headlines for this edition. President Paul Kagame has begun a two-day official visit to Algeria. Findings from the 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey have shown that poverty levels in the city of Kigali are lower compared to Rwanda's provinces. And on the international scene, Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof has stepped down after Geert Wilders withdrew his party from the Netherlands coalition government over migration plans.
Chris from 30.
I thank you for joining us for this edition of the news, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye.